Ramaphosa, Thabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
And a suicide bombing at a mosque in Pakistan's capital, Islamabad, has killed at least 31 people, injuring more than 130. It's understood the attacker was stopped at the gate and detonated himself. A senior police official said the explosion occurred after Friday prayers when mosques around the country are packed with worshippers. According to AFP, the casualty toll is expected to rise further. A fine Saturday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Johannesburg drops to an overnight low of 14 degrees, peaking at 30. Pretoria 16 and 32. Vereeniging drops to 15, reaching a high of 30 degrees. Monkey Ziko Ko. Eyewitness News.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
Oh, by the way, Valentine's weekend is almost here, and that's your sign to make the right move. South African Airlines has amazing fares for you to your favorite destinations. For example, you can fly to Cape Town for just 1,144 Rand, to Durban for 690 Rand, to Gqeberha for 655 Rand. All of this at flysaa.com. Make Valentine's Day one to remember. Book at flysaa.com or contact your nearest travel agency.
Comfort ends where Marawa Sports Worldwide begins.
When we start to have VAR on the matches, the things will go better because there will be no suspicious on no one. Because here in South Africa, it becomes very interesting that the officials from some teams visit the referees in the morning of the matches. You know that? Yeah, but look for that because I saw a photo today. It's important we look for this. I never saw that. First time I see officials from one team visiting the referee from their game in the night. That happened recently, very recently, maybe yesterday. And that's what you need to worry about in terms of football.
If it's shaking sport, we are already on it.
It's really disappointing news for Leicester fans because they have now been hit with a 6-point deduction after they have been found to have breached the Premier League's financial rules. It's the profitability and sustainability rules for the 2023-24 season when the club was last operating in the second tier.
#MSW.
We need to love our players when they win, and we need to love our players when they lose. They are also human beings, Mr. Marawa. You can't throw water to a family man in front of people. Obviously, he will get frustrated, and I don't blame Brendan Peterson for his reaction.
Strong opinions, strong sources, strong sport.
You know, Rob, Junior Kanye once said this: there's love and there's reality. People love Kaizer Chiefs, but the reality is some of the players are ordinary players, are not special players. They don't deserve to play for Chiefs. Some Chiefs fans were making noise about him to Shabalala, they want him to play for Bafana, but the guy is not consistent. The guy is not special. You can't compare him to with Rhythm Fukeng. You can't. So Chiefs need players and they need coach.
#MSW. No protection, no PR spin, just accountability.
Hey, what is show Marawa?
Marawa Sports Worldwide on 947, Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Sowetan Live.
Oh man, what a Friday we have in store for you. It is a Friday where we sit back and we say, okay, you are a legend in your field. And today, somebody that I've been trying to for the longest time to get to come through onto the show is our guest tonight. And I can feel it by simply just putting out the e-card on the public platforms, the social media platforms, the reaction that we have had, the reaction that I have had from people saying, please, the show cannot end without me having paid a tribute of some sort or another. And that's just how high level this conversation is going to be. We're going to celebrate somebody that maybe at times he doesn't feel he needs to be celebrated for anything because that's the kind of human being that he is. But we had a very, kind of frank conversation a couple of weeks ago down here in Durban, and we said, you know what, we need to make it happen. Time moves on, and I would not feel happy for time to move on without paying tribute to you. So, Matsalane, Mamabolo, I say thank you very much indeed for indulging us. He is our guest tonight. We're going to be chatting to him. He's our legend. Send us your WhatsApp voice notes, and let's have a great Friday, man. That's what we do. We celebrate people that continue to make a difference in many spheres within sport, and today is no different. It is Marawa Sports Worldwide, proudly brought to you by Hollywood Bet.
Let's go! The moments you remember. The games you can't forget. Marawa Sports Worldwide on 947, Vuma FM and Rise FM. Powered by Hollywood Bets.
All right, before we get to our legend and our guest tonight, let me tell you that the Blitzboks head coach, Philip Snyman, says that South Africa's 7 side are determined to bounce back to a podium finish at the 4th leg of the 2026 HSBC SVNS in Perth this weekend. Snyman is pleased with the team's preparation since arriving in Western Australia, and also believes that the squad is ready to respond after recent setbacks. He also stressed the need for the Blitzboks to be clinical and seize the opportunities to reach the semi-finals.
There's no easy games anymore. Doesn't matter. You can come 8th in the first tournament and win the next one. And it showed in the last 3 tournaments. Teams that 3 different winners in each tournament, so any team can play in a final, any team can win any team. It's the top 8, so it's basically all knockout stage, so there's no easy games anymore. And like I said, a team like Spain will definitely bounce back, a team like Argentina will bounce back. We want to bounce back, and Fiji is right on top there. We know it's always going to be a physical battle against them, and that's one area that we felt like we need to muscle up. We need to be a little bit more aggressive, especially if we play against bigger teams and bigger opponents. So that will be our focus, is to focus on ourselves, improve the things that we want to. We can't predict the outcome, or we can't predict how they're going to play. We can do our homework, but at the end of the day it comes down to our effort and attitude, and to be more clinical, and that's exactly the message for this weekend.
Well, the Orlando Pirates coach Abduslam Wadu says that his side will not underestimate TTM in the Nedbank Cup Last 32 clash at the Moses Mabhida Stadium down here in Durban tomorrow afternoon. Wadu has vowed to field a full-strength team against the third-tier outfit, and also stressing the importance of maintaining focus despite Pirates' strong premiership form.
It will be a very important game for us. We don't underestimate any teams. In that competition, we are taking very, very seriously that competition. It's a competition that is very important for the club. If you have seen that we stayed here, we didn't travel back. We stayed here. We came with 22 players. It means that how much we take this competition very seriously, and we respect the opponent. One thing that is very important for us, it's the chance, the opportunity to stay and to play in the same stadium. It's important, but it doesn't guarantee us anything. About the opponent, we know, I cannot say that we don't know anything. When we are a professional club, we have to get information in order to prepare the game. So we have the maximum of information about that team, and what I can guarantee you is that on Saturday we will put the strongest team to start that game. Yeah.
Well, the Golden Arrows coach Manqoba Mngqithi has warned his side to expect a tricky Nedbank Cup Last 32 clash against Orbit College at the Kings Welitini Stadium. That game happening tomorrow evening, 1800 hours. Now, Mngqithi acknowledged, though, that Orbit have strengthened their squad and also experienced players, making the encounter more challenging. He also stressed that the Arrows team must be fully prepared to avoid an upset and also keep their cup ambitions alive.
It's quite a tricky encounter when you play against a team that you have played already. This season is always tricky because they will give everything to this game, and we also have a responsibility to try and get ourselves on the head for the last 16. So we know it's a complicated game. They've brought in some players like Mutswari, like Ralani, and they are a completely different team when look at the striker plays and when he's not playing. So it's always going to pose a lot of problems. And now they've got Raman Pahlele, who brings a little bit of experience at the back. In the goalkeeping department, they've been using Komo, and they just brought the Zambian now, and Komo is back. So it's still very difficult to know who exactly will be playing. But in the last two fixtures, Komo was playing, Kabela played, Klapo played in the central defense. So you would expect maybe Mpahlele to come in and Kabela to go to right back. And the central midfield brought Motsware, Potsane, and Basi. Then up top, they keep changing. It's very difficult to know, but we know it's not going to be an easy encounter. We have to do our work.
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
And we do have Paul Mokitos, SA Rowing Powerhouse trustee, is in studio. What? There was an option to get on a boat and, do rowing as an option. But I chose because I struggled with one thing called swimming. Mm-hmm. That if I hop onto the boat, something happens, then it's the end of me.
Yeah.
And I go back to a conversation I've had with Chad Leclos before, very open conversation on air, and he was stressing the importance of bringing in kids from the Zwites, Mlazis, Guamashus, wherever around the world within the black community to say participate, but we will give swimming lessons. Is that a reality that you face, and how can we overcome that?
Absolutely. So for children to row competitively, for a school, they have to pass what we call their tip test. So they have to go out in a single scull, fall into the water, and then climb back into the boat. So that they have to be able to swim.
Hashtag MSW. Hashtag MSW. Friday nights, always.
This is how we do it.
About our beloved legends. Pull up your chair. Let's chat legendary stuff. Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Oh man, I gotta get into the right frame of mind. I gotta get into the right frame of spirit because it's finally happening. The big conversation that we've all been waiting for. Well, let me personalize it. The one conversation that I've always been waiting for. And that is why tonight we don't just tell the stories. We kind of honor legends who wrote the history of South African sport with ink. A lot of you might not know what ink is these days, but yeah, that's exactly what they did. It was ink, insight, fearless truth. And we also celebrate a man whose words kind of shaped generations of football lovers across this nation. 30 years ago, on the 5th of February, 1996. Now, this is literally to the day. A young journalist walked into the Star newsroom, and 3 decades later, he stands as South Africa's most decorated as well as influential soccer writers. I mean, he wrote and rose from the sports editorship at the independent newspaper Gauteng to shaping Shoot, the Africa Star, the Star Africa. It also became the trusted voice for football's toughest conversations. I mean, he is the only journalist, and listen to this, to have won the PSL Soccer Writer of the Year 4 times. And the only man to hold both the Soccer Writer of the Year and also the Sports Writer of the Year at the very same time. He has covered, oh my goodness, I mean, he's covered World Cups across 3 continents, Africa Cup of Nations battles, he's done Champions League finals, Olympic glory, iconic derbies, title fights, because he loves boxing. He didn't just cover history, he literally chronicled it. He is a master storyteller. For those who have listened very closely to him through the years, a fearless analyst, also a mentor to the next generation. And that is why today I'm literally saying that this is a special day, because he is a leading voice in podcasting, digital media, football thought leadership. And from Inside SA Soccer to Blast from the Past, from the newsroom to the running roads of comrades, and also to Ocean's Marathon. I mean, excellence kind of follows him everywhere he goes. And tonight we kind of relive that journey, the triumphs, the tough calls, the moments that kind of changed South African football forever. And that's why I calculate 30 years of brilliance, 30 years of impact, 30 years of writing our game into history. And that's why I proudly present a true legend of the pen, the press box, the people. Ladies and gentlemen, Matselane Mamabolo. What an honor, sir. Good evening and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you so much for having me on your show. And yeah, thanks for those very kind words.
I didn't misrepresent anything, I hope.
That it didn't sound like it. No, it was, I think it's fair.
I'm just very unhappy though that we planned in Durban to happen in Gauteng has me in Durban and you in Gauteng. That's the only thing I'm unhappy about.
Yeah, it happens.
But the beauty of technology says that it doesn't really matter because it will sound the same. It's the intimacy, it's the conversations, it's you allowing us to thank you for your contribution. And like I say, it's been a long time coming, Matselane.
Yeah,
And
no.
so great to celebrate this day with you today.
Yeah, no, thanks, Robert. I mean, the timing could not have been perfect, isn't it? Because as you said, just yesterday, it dawned on me that I walked into 47. Look, I had been at 47 Sour Street as a cadet training. And during that training from 95 August, I sort of made the guy who was running the course realize that I only want to do sports and nothing else. Because when you are a cadet at the Star, when you get in, they make you work in different departments. This week you'll be in the news. Sometime they move you to politics and all that. And I knew that news and me are never going to mix because I remember there's one time we had gone to the courts. I mean, they make you do court reporting as trainees. Eugene de Kock was giving evidence and he was talking about how he killed black people, and I was just crying in there, and I knew that I could never ever do news but sports. So when we completed the course, the guy Chris van Gaas, who was running the course, went to the sports editor at the Star, Julian Kens, to say there's this youngsters, you just have to have him in the sports department. And it just happened that the Monday after Bafana had won the Nations Cup, I started in the sports newsroom. So yeah, which was yesterday, 30 years ago.
My goodness. And the irony of having the class of 96 currently with the documentary up should bring some of those memories back to you. And how important a turning point. I mean, Eugene de Kock doing the crazy stuff that makes anybody's tear glands to jerk. To you maybe having to cover another tearjerker in an Ellis Park disaster, for example. Now, do the two kind of contrast now? He has the love of sport, and especially football, in your case, versus a disaster now that is facing the entire nation, happening in front of a live TV audience. How did you manage to box between that and handle that story?
I don't know if I must say, fortunately, for some reason that day I was not at the stadium. I remember our colleague, I think it was Nkaring Matse, who was covering that match. I was in the office watching on TV, but I watched, and when we saw what happened, we were in the office. But that day I realized, I think it made me realize just people who care about me, because my phone rang nonstop, people asking me, are you okay? Are you at the stadium? And yeah, my brother was there, and panic, of course, trying to call him and not finding him, but fortunately he came out unscathed. So I mean, of course, afterwards we wrote about those, but I was not there to report live on it. So in a way, I guess God knew that I probably would not have been able to handle watching people dying the way they did.
The young kid in Polokwane growing up, loving sports, did you ever imagine this kind of legendary journey?
Yeah, no, I don't know. Legendary. I wouldn't say that. Hey, Rob. Okay, so I loved football. Hey, I mean, yesterday a former classmate of mine from Standard 2 reminded me that. So when I wrote on my Facebook that it's been 30 years, he says no. Actually, it started in 1984 because when we were in Standard 2 back then, we used to take pictures of the soccer players, posting them, pasting them in those notebooks to require. You know, remember those black books with red spine?
Yes, on the edge.
Yeah, everybody pasting their favorite players and all that. And I didn't realize, I loved football, but I don't think I knew I would have a career in football until I was at university. I passed my matric and went to study law at what was then Tefluop University. And yeah, the first 2 months in class, I just didn't hear anything. I remember going to a Latin class And I'm like, I'm wasting time here. So the funny thing is, TEF flew up what would happen. They had so many students that you'd have morning and evening classes. And I just skipped classes. So the people who went to evening classes would do extracurricular during the day. And I did ballroom dancing, and I would dance during
what?
I was a great ballroom dancer. I've got lots of trophies.
Oh, wow.
For real, yeah. And look, where I come from, Libuahom, just about everybody danced because it was a big thing back then. You either played softball or you did ballroom dancing. And I chose ballroom dancing. And at TEF Luop, I would dance during the day and let the evening guys who did dance and I've danced. And a good friend of mine one day said to me, but why are you wasting your time here at TEF? Why don't you go be a journalist? And I remember thinking, why do you say that? And the funny thing, he says, you're always writing. So as a young guy, teenager, I used to like writing letters to girls. You know, there were high schools, different high schools, boarding schools, and you know, if you're asking, I used to be this guy. If I asked a girl out a letter, she'll never say no. And this guy said, listen.
Oh.
And this guy said, why don't you try journalism? And that's how I got into it. I applied to Benham College. I was doing first year TEF 1992. And I dropped out, came to Joburg, did a journalism course for about 6 months. And then went back home. And there was a newspaper called Leboa Post. That was before 94. And the editor that tested me out, he gives me a press release and says to me, write something. It was about politics. They had done a reshuffle of the Leboa government, but I knew nothing about politics. And I wrote, and he looked at it and said, son, you know nothing about politics. This is a rough reshuffle because I just said they're announcing new ministers. And then the weekend, I happened to be at the stadium at the weekend, and I watched the match. And somehow I just started writing. And I went back on the Monday and I gave it to him, and he said, son, you're a soccer journalist. That's what you are. And I just started writing sports. The next year, I went and studied at, it was called Technical Northern Transvaal back then, TNT in Soshanguve. I did my 3 years there, but every holiday I would then go to that newspaper and worked. So by the time I got to the Star, I had already a long portfolio of covering sports in, back then was called Leboa. And that's how I knew there and then that I would be a soccer journalist.
What an important journey. Backtracking to ballroom dancing, backtracking to, you know, so many ideas. You know, when you're trying to do what you want to do and you're writing love letters like he wrote love letters, I don't know if he did it as well as a Barry White or a Luther Vandross, or maybe he might have stolen a chorus
Some lines,
or two,
of
or
course,
maybe he
of
just kept
course.
it. You must have
You
done
do
that, right?
it. Of course. Teddy Pendergrass was my go-to guy.
Which song? Turn Off the Lights.
No, I wasn't that way. No.
Which one?
True Love
Which
Never
one of
Fails.
TP?
There was a song called True Love Never Fails. I don't know how many of those lines I used.
TP, guys. Who would have ever imagined Matselane Mamabolo headlining a TP concert?
#MSW live now on 947 Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Sowetan Live at the same time. #MSW.
You swore you were just here for cotton pads. Now it's a full-blown haul. Supplements, tissues, that new serum that's all over socials. With other banks, this would sting. But you bank with Capitec. You get 15% off over 140 brands at Dis-Chem. So your basket feels lighter even when it's full. Bank on better rewards with Capitec and Dis-Chem. Capitec is an authorized FSP 46669. Conditions apply.
At DigiCape, we don't just sell Apple, we've been experts in all things tech for over 20 years. Get trusted service and the latest devices. Trade in and trade up with flexible payment options. And extend your Apple warranty on your Mac, iPhone, iPad or watch. Shop online with free delivery or visit us in-store for friendly advice from our experts. Backed by Apple authorized support. So whether you're buying or just browsing, there's so much more to explore. DigiCape for Apple and so much more.
Deal or No Deal now plays at 7:30. Not when it used to, but adjusting is what we do. We adjust the traffic pointsmen that work, then ask for change. We adjust the conversations we don't understand and reply confident. My thoughts exec. So this one's easy. The same show, same host, same excitement. Just later. Deal or No Deal now plays every weekday at 7:30 on SABC2. Proudly sponsored by Lotto Star.
Lotto Stars, licensed by the Mpumalanga Economic Regulator. No under 18s. National Responsible Gambling Program. 0800 006 008. T's and C's apply. All games are fixed odds betting events.
There's so much more to enjoy when you fly in Emirates Economy. More legroom, delicious regionally inspired meals, complimentary free-flowing drinks, and the latest movies, TV shows, music, and live sport. Some of the best entertainment in the skies. And our family services make your journey simple and fun. Plan your next trip and start the holiday early in Emirates Economy. Fly Emirates, fly better.
Hey, Tamzadzi, are you 16 years or older? Register online as a voter anytime, anywhere at register2vote.elections.org.za or call 0800 11 8000. It's safe, quick, and easy. To register, you must be a South African citizen, 16 years or older, and have a smart ID card, a green ID book, or temporary ID certificate. Your vote is your voice. IEC, ensuring free and fair elections.
Different sounds, different worlds.
Different artistic expressions, music, art, and fashion collide. Are you coming? Let's go to the place where the beat drops, the fashion pops, and the art rocks.
We're talking Focalistic, Daliwonga, Mafigi Zolo, Kurt Darren, Matera Doughboy, Zoe Mudicha, Claire Johnston from Mango Groove, the Tswani Gospel Choir, and more. Mahindra Fusion Fest, Saturday 7th March, Sunbet Arena. Tickets on Ticketmaster now. See you there.
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Her Royal Highness Dr. Desiree Ellis, Banyana coach. I even saw earlier on Sundowns, they talked on their Twitter page today and they were celebrating something not just about them being champions, but they were saying 11 of their Sundowns ladies have been called to the Banyana squad to shine in green and gold at WAFCON.
Look, Rob, a lot of players that moved to Sundowns over the last couple of years, and do you now not select them because they've moved to Sundowns? I mean, Gugu Dlamini, we selected her when we thought she was at UJ, and she's just signed for Mamabolo Sundowns. And we're just consistent in our selections, whether the players move to another club and there's 10 of that club in the squad. They've been in Banyana before they even got to Mamabolo Sundowns. It's not about where they play, it's what they can offer the national team. And
Hashtag MSW. Hashtag MSW. Friday nights, always.
This is how we do it.
About our beloved legends. Pull up your chair. Let's chat legendary stuff. Marawa Sports Worldwide.
On that, we have been overwhelmed even before the show started at 6 o'clock. Just saying that if Matselane Mamabolo is coming on air, everybody wants to have a voice, and that's exactly what it's been. I'll just be the mere conductor because it is a tribute, as we normally do on a Friday, paying tribute to those who have made a sterling contribution to the discourse of sport in South Africa. And here we have that sterling gentleman who has done exactly that in Matselane. So, I think let's shoot off with our first tribute.
Hi, my name is Morgan Bolton. I am the National Sports Editor for Independent Media. And Matselane was, when I started, he was my mentor. He taught me everything I needed to know. I will be honest. Growing up in an Afrikaans background, I knew very little about football, South African football specifically. And, Jakes, he taught me everything I knew about, in those early days, about the Premiership, the Absa Cup, the Bob Save Super Bowl, because of his generational knowledge that he has on those topics. And I consider him, in many respects, my mentor and a person that I look up to, and somebody that taught me about the wider world and South Africa in general. I grew up in a very sheltered, conservative South African white family in Gekerk every Sunday, and went to university at Rao. And when I started my journalistic career, it was Matselane that, in many respects, opened my view to the world and to what South Africa was and is. And he taught me so much just about culture, not even about being a journalist or being a football reporter or about sport in general, but just being a South African and what that actually meant. So I owe him a lot in that regard. Just teach me what it means to be a South African in post-apartheid South Africa, and my gratitude is immeasurable towards him, and that's all I have to say. Thanks.
Morgan Bolton, thank you so much indeed. Do you hear that, Matselane? How do you respond to Morgan?
Yeah, Mox. We call him Mox. We had some good times with Morgan. I wasn't aware that I did that for him. But one of the things Morgan always did for us when I ran what we call Shoot, the supplement in the Star, he was the layout guy, and we wrote good stories, but he made the pages sing. One of the best layout people I've worked with. He's currently my boss now. I freelance for the Star still, and Morgan is running the show, and he is a good boss. I mean, to have seen him grow into what he has become has been beautiful. We're still very close to this day. So yeah, thanks, Mox.
I think just a story about the Engie Kerk, somebody who's come through from a sheltered background, very verkrampt in many, many ways. To see the bigger picture, I think that's just almost an admission of the kind of influence you've had.
Yeah, look, I mean, the one thing about what the Star did for us is the race thing never really mattered. I mean, there'll be a few of those who did, but we were a very good team. I mean, I actually saw the guys earlier today, and it was like reminiscent of just those times. We used to have these Tuesday meetings where we planned. We used to go to the SAB, the World of Beer. They allowed us, and the beer was free. I didn't drink. I was always the only one. They always laughed at me. I would drink Fanta Orange, and everybody was drinking beer. But the things that came out of we were such a unit. I was just reminding them how I wasn't into rugby and everything, but it was like iron sharpening iron. We grew together. A Morgan would come to me. He didn't really know football, but he would show me something that I didn't know about football. We worked with Kevin McCallums and them. There was Bovatangove. It was a beautiful team, and sometimes it pains me that the Star is no longer what it used to be, although they are trying to rebuild that Morgan and the current team. But yeah, I remember times when I felt we were the best sports journalism department in the country. We used to cover football. You covered the derby, and there'd be three of us at the derby, and what came out in the Sunday Independent was just amazing journalism.
Hi, I'm Kevin McCallum. I worked for the Star for 22 years. I was chief sports writer. I've been honored to know Jakes for most of those years, probably all of them. The thing about Machalane Mamabolo is that he is a guy who transcended Limpopo, which is a hard thing to do. But he came down here and he became an absolute legend. He and I worked together in a different sense. I started at the Star just after he did, but the way he works is a transcendence of his spiritualism as a Christian and mine almost as an atheist. But he's taught me more about my being as a person and the way he writes and the way he approaches sport and sports journalism with his honesty, his integrity, and his ability to have everybody read what he writes. And the one thing you want to do, he's a storyteller. So he tells a story from the top to the bottom. If you can get someone to read from the first paragraph to the last paragraph, you're a storyteller. Jakes, thank you for being my friend.
Sure. Kevin McCallum.
Yeah.
Thank you so much indeed. Beautiful tribute. And he says something that centers you about your Christianity, your belief. And it threw me back to our days when we worked on the Engine Premier Soccer Show on Supersport. And the little gifts that you came and you gave everybody. And those were special books, but a lot of them almost centered in the deep thought and, the passion, what lies within a person's soul. So again, centered around spirituality, but not overimposing it to any other person. And I think Kevin described it beautifully. Maybe let me get your response to what he said.
Yeah, look, Kevin was I admired the way Kevin wrote. I mean, Kevin was initially a sports editor at the Sunday Independent, and then he moved to writing, and he was just different class. You read Kevin McCallum, and it's like he transports you to he used to be brilliant covering the Paralympics, and not everybody watches that, but he made that just so beautiful with his writing. We were very different people at the start from different backgrounds, and Kevin is from Boksburg. He swears like, hey, what do they say? But you learn to understand that we are all from different places, and Kevin and I just grew into each other. I mean, he did me an incredible favor just in recently. Some guy was starting a podcast. Kevin Fine, who used to be on 5M, was starting a radio show sort of online, and Kevin said, if you want somebody to do soccer, this is the guy. So it's I'm very grateful to have met the people I met at the Star. It's the most amazing thing is almost all of us are no longer there, but there's still this bond. We still have this WhatsApp group that we had when we were there, and it's still there. So that just tells you of the brotherhood that we created at the Star.
That's amazing, though, because I was almost inundated. The phone almost, burst into many little pieces, just simply because of the love that they shared. And they said that, sometimes when you talk to somebody in a personal manner, Matzelane, it might not hold as much weight as if it is described, especially on a public platform, to an entire nation where you almost kind of get to describe what that feels like. And that is why I'm just happy to almost give it to everybody to say, share your little piece of your tribute to this man that we all been inspired by in our many different facets of life.
Projects, Matsilane Mamabolo, Star of the North, my friend, well done on 30 years of journalism. For a young man who came from Limpopo and came to the bright lights of Johannesburg, to have achieved what you have, again, speaks volumes of the human being that you are, but also of the resilience and hard work you've put in this career. We met a long time ago, and I started off at independent newspapers. And if there's anything that stood out for me is how you embraced me, first of all, as a human being, but secondly, as a young black man trying to make my way in sports journalism, and how you always encouraged me and always made an effort to acknowledge some of the stuff I put together. I love the fact that later on you became my boss. But even more than anything, you and I became very, very good friends. I've enjoyed our drives from Midrand to the office at the Star. But even beyond that, you coming to my place, me going to your place, us talking about our kids and life in general. You're a good human being, first and foremost. Your writing is legendary. I still remember when Bafana or Ama Kluk beat Brazil at the Sydney Olympics. And one of the things that Mahlatsi Mphahlele kept on saying to us was, you read Project's intro, and those are the kind of intros that live with you throughout your journalism career. Remember the time, remember the place, and so on. And we've never forgotten the time and the place and the team. And again, that came from your writing. So thank you very much for inspiring us. Continue to inspire the future generation. But more important than anything, continue to become being the human being that you are. We love you, Projects. We celebrate you. And Rob, thank you for having that legend in the studio. Vatango Ben is signing out. Love you, Projects. Love you. Star of the North. Sure.
Cityland.
Star of the North.
I call him Cityland.
Vatango,
Yeah, no. We sure. Just this is like getting me emotional because we've gone through so much with this guy. I've seen him come into journalism, rugby. I mean, a black man covering rugby when it was just unfashionable for that to happen. But he just grew into the Blue Bulls. He was like the expert of the Blue Bulls, and yeah, as he says, we the bond is just very deep. Citylet, I love you, my brother.
Oh, man. It's going to take more than one show. I'm sure you can tell now, Matsalani, because I want to go deeper into your love of Amadlukluk. I want to go deeper into what made you more specifically focus on the journey of these young superstars, the Amadlukluk era that we don't see or hear about at under 23 level, we don't see or hear about. But you made that almost like your pet project. We might not even have the time today because, again, I am staring at an overwhelming number of voice notes that say we want to put our voices forward. So when the people speak during the break, my team there will talk to you to find a part 2 date because otherwise I wouldn't be doing justice to the work that you've done. So one thing that Vata mentioned, and I'm going to say this going into the break, when he says that your introductions, as far as any article that you'd write, will kind of leave you spellbound and speechless. I'm paraphrasing what he said, but it's exactly that. And recently, having gone back and read what you wrote about Bobby Mdawung, and I'm going to say this going into the break, is that this is how the article starts. It says, few figures in South African football have been as visible, as debated, and as misunderstood as Bobby Mdawung. For over 3 decades, his presence at Kaizer Chiefs has symbolized authority to some, nepotism to others, and continuity to those who understand the inner workings of the club. Bob Stake has been praised, vilified, caricatured, and scrutinized, often without context. And so it continues. You, my friend, are a gifted human being.
Hashtag MSW live now on 947 Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Sowetan Live at the same time. Hashtag MSW.
Josie, this Valentine's elevate date night to something truly unforgettable. Gold Reef City's town square transforms into a magical open-air cinema under the stars. Enjoy exclusive access to thrilling rides, indulge in a gourmet picnic for 2, and then settle into the ultimate romantic classic, The Notebook. It all happens on Saturday, 14 February for 1,200 Rand per couple. Book now at goldreefcity.co.za.
Gold Reef City, it's our sun destination. Entertain, it's what we do.
Managing your workforce shouldn't be complicated. That's why businesses choose Onacy, a proudly South African cloud-based payroll and HR solution. From payroll and e-recruitment to performance management and self-service tools, we streamline the way businesses handle their people. Scalable, secure, and always online, our system evolves with your needs because your workforce deserves the best. Switch to Onacy and experience payroll and HR done right. Visit onacy.com today.
This is what value sounds like. It's only natural to crave real flavor. That's why Burger King brings you the stacked King value meals. 3 bigger flame-grilled beef or chicken burgers, each served with fries and a drink of your choice. Now with a fluffier bun. Big on size, big on flavor, big on value. Get it for just $59.90 on the BK app. Burger King, flame-grilled perfection.
What's with the camouflage, Dorf? I'm going hunting. Just me, nature, and my most underrated off-roader, a rental car. Hunting? You could fit that little car in your backpack, Dorf. I sit in the driver's seat, baggage at the back, chairs on the roof. The kudu is going to get in and strap its own seatbelt, Savvy. Could do with more legroom, Dorf. Go hunt for a new 4x4 at We Buy Cars. They got great deals. Oh, shot, Savvy.
Don't be doof, be savvy. We Buy Cars, geared for that big trip, geared for you.
Get your mojo back with 25% off everything at Mojo Beds. And this month of live shop in-store at Mojo Beds for 5,999 or more and get a 500 Rand voucher to redeem at American, Swiss or Stearns. Plus, get up to 24 months to pay with your TFG money account. Shop beds for all budgets at 25% off. Find your best sleep at Mojo Beds. Good night. Offer excludes bases sold separately. NCRCP 36 T's and C's apply. Visit us in the Park Meadow Centre opposite Eastgate Mall.
South Africa, are you ready? Alpha Pharmacies are turning every week into a winning week by giving away 100,000 Rand. Spend 100 Rand or more at participating Alpha Pharmacies to qualify. Improve your chances by buying participating brands and earn double entries. Go to alpha52.co.za to enter. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram. 52 weeks, 52 lives, 1 Alpha. Terms and conditions apply.
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
And we do have Paul Mokitos, SA Rowing Powerhouse trustee, is in studio. What is it about rowing that kind of builds such powerful unity as well as character in athletes?
Well, it's a sport which requires synchronization and unity. So you could have 4 Davids beat 4 Goliaths because they're just rowing well together. So it's the ultimate team sport, because also you might have every cell in your body screaming at you to stop, but you can't because you simply cannot let your friends down. So it really does foster extremely close bonds because, shared suffering and all that. And it produces people who are team players. I know business leaders who will almost certainly recruit people if they see a high-level rowing on their CV, because they know they're getting someone who won't give up when the going is tough and who is a complete team player.
Hashtag MSW. Hashtag MSW. Friday nights, always.
This is how we do it.
About our beloved legends. Pull up your chair. Let's chat legendary stuff. Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Good evening, Bra Rob, and good evening to Pramatselane in studio. Kaya Koko here speaking from Katlehong. Not just felt I had to say my flowers to Pramatselane, because when I started in journalism 10 years ago, it'll be 10 unbroken years of service in April. Pramatselane was on the sports desk at the Star, working Nabo, Jermaine Craig, may soul rest in peace, the late great. And what an inspiration, I wanted to come to the sports desk so much, but unfortunately, the powers that be had other ideas for me. Hence, I ended up in investigations. But yeah, what an inspiration. Ramatzelane, keep going, Hotman, and just know that you're a legend. Thanks, Rob, for honoring him, while he's still alive. Kaya Koko from Katlo. Cheers.
Hi. Good afternoon, Robert. It's the evening now, yes. Good evening, Robert. Robert, pass my greetings to the Juno, Matzelane Mamabolo there. I'm proud of him. Mamabolo is the product of TNG. By the way, you started Mamabolo when he was Technical Northern Transvaal, later Technical Northern Gauteng, now TUT. I was there 99 as TNG. But Mamabolo, what can you tell budding journalists from TNG or TU2 now? What can you tell them? How can you motivate them to be journalists, knowing that journalism has changed completely now? Thank you. Butinkonke, the bona fide son of Indwe in the Eastern Cape. But now I'm here in Joburg. Robbie. Goodbye.
Mr. Marawa, good evening to you and your guest, Mr. Mamabolo. What a great pleasure to have this astute scholar, astute artist, journalism personified. You don't just wake up in the morning and become sports editor and become sports writer of the year 3 times, in a row. Mr. Mamabolo, what a fine scholar, what a fine gentleman you are, a very soft-spoken gentleman. And we salute you. And maybe I'm closely attached to such people of such magnitude and literature because I'm a son of a journalist myself. It seems like the art is dying, but we look back to people like you who have kept it alive. Long live to scribes like yourself. Thank you.
Shosho Bra Rob, I hope you are doing well, my brother. Today you are talking to the legend, my mentor, my father, my everything, Date Matzelane Mamabolo. Yeah, I don't know what to say, but one thing I just want to say, Yori, I want to thank Mr. Mamabolo for everything he did for me when I came to the game. I'm a young journalist, so I just want to say, Bra Mamabolo, I love you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for everything. And God bless you, Daddy. God bless you. I love you so much.
Projects, where do I start? This is Michael Balega, the senior football writer at the Star. Wow, man. It's been, I think, almost a decade since I've known you. I remember when I first interacted with you, I wrote an email and then I spelled your name wrongly. And then the first response that you said to me is that you must actually search for people when you are not sure of their names. And since the day that I walked into the Star building, still as an intern, was still at school at the time, you welcomed me with open arms, yourself with the rest of the guys, including Njabulo, who was still there at the time, Mazola, was still there at the time as well. And since then, under your radio and also your mentorship and your watchful eye, I've been able to soar a bit. I mean, you took me to my first international trip abroad to Spain, and then I was followed by another one to England. And then ever since then, I've been able to try and actually, do the best that I can, and then to grow as well as a person and as a journalist. And out of everything that you've done for me, projects, I could never be, grateful. I'm so indebted to the way that you've changed my career and my life, most importantly. Till this day, I still call you as a brother, and to many more years, projects. I'm really, really grateful for what you've done. Thank you so much.
I'm John T. Mark. Used to work at independent newspapers for years and years and years and years, maybe 18 years with Matsalani Mamabolo. And now I'm the football editor at the Citizen newspaper. But me and Matsalani, we go way back. And he is the most genuine, one of the most genuine people I've ever met. He always tells it how it is. And back in the day, we used to write for the Star and the Saturday Star and the Sunday Independent. And we used to write these lengthy features when back then you could actually write long stories. And people were actually interested in reading them. And their attention spans hadn't disintegrated. But now you're just my friend. And it's really good to know that you've been in the industry for 30 years and you've been doing your thing for 30 years. And I have ultimate respect for you because you always just straightforward, honest and kind, and you just tell it as it is. And you have carried on doing that in your work for Disky Times and your work for The Star as it carries on, or iol.co.za or whatever form it takes. You've just carried on being genuinely you, and I really appreciate you, Matsalani, and congratulations on 30 years being a journalist. That is a decent effort in an industry in which it's becoming increasingly difficult to survive, let alone thrive. God bless you, Matsalani, and all the best for the future.
Guys, why I said it's going to be so difficult to just have one episode of this show, because it's a mounting tribute, and it's from the heart. I'll ask him to backtrack all of these, ordinary South Africans saying thank you, esteemed journalists who've made a mark themselves also saying a big thank you, but also just saying that continue being the person that you are. I think John T. Mark's one just now says you call it the way it is, and nothing affects you in that way because nobody can take away that level of independence. And we celebrate that. Kabelo, I believe, is on the line as well. Kabelo, good evening.
Good evening, Barop. Good evening, Tate Matsalani. I call him Daddy, like some one of the callers. But I think another layer to Tate Mamabolo that was not mentioned was that he was also a lecturer at the Tshwane University of Technology. And I remember one time he asked us to write one of the simplest things about ourselves. And he comes back to our class and says, "Oh, you write like a girl." Initially, I thought that was an offense, only to find out later that actually girls write in a colorful way. They paint pictures, which essentially meant I could write. And I think that's another thing about being around someone like him. You get to understand what writing is about. And I'm also glad that he got to do that, to come back to a university, sit with us, teach us what writing is about, and emphasize that if you want to become a good writer, you must continuously read. And he reads, whether it's in a taxi, whether it's on a how train, whether it's on a plane, he has a book. And I think that's how you get to know that these interests that they're talking about, they come from somebody who reads extensively and locally and globally. And I think for that, I continue to appreciate who you are and what you've done for myself and many, many, many others, that we know that that door to journalism was open because you just saw potential and you nurtured it from that point. Thank you.
Yeah. Spoken from the heart, Kabelo. Thank you so much indeed. I hope Matsalani is sitting back and listening to the impact that he's made in this country.
This is Liam Delcom. I just wanted to say congratulations to one of the enduring voices, respected voices in South African sport, not just in soccer, but in South African sport in general. Well done on this landmark achievement. Not many in this day and age survive 30 years. Wanting to wish you well for the next 30 years because you've got that boyhood charm and, dare I say, look that was introduced to us so many years ago. So I would say well done. You've always conducted yourself with honesty and integrity. I think you could see that in your writing from the very start. And those are qualities that I think is rubbed off on many other journalists that have come after you. So I wanted to say well done and keep it up.
Oh, the legend, the legend, the legend. It's Felicia Ntisa here. Rob, you've got a disciplinarian. You've got somebody who does not compromise with excellent output. You've got somebody who's got an unparalleled work ethic. I'm so proud to have worked with Matselane. I wish you everything of the best, Aubuti. You are amazing. One thing that you should commit, please, is to impart your skills to the upcoming journalists and really to instill the work ethic and the importance of research. I love you so much, and I thank you so much for your continued support.
Good evening, Robert. You have a legend of football journalism in studio, Brajakes, as Matselane Mamabolo is affectionately known. It's commendable to have someone of such a caliber with great work ethic, creativity, and most importantly, great humanity. He is arguably the most decorated football writer in this country. And as a young journalist, I was actually impacted, and his contribution to my career has been immense. I've benefited a lot. I learned a lot from Brajakes. He will send me to do stories. There was a time where he had me do about 5 stories in the newspaper, and he published all the 5 stories in one newspaper edition, and he told me, he said, look at your work, go buy the newspaper. And when you write a story, Brajakes will tell you that this quality is not up to standard. He will tell you that you need to rewrite the story or do better. The story is not going to see light of day. Such was the highest standards that he held himself and those around him. I have a lot to say about Brajakes. He's a great man and needs to be celebrated. And it's befitting that you have him in this particular era where football journalism has kind of, taken a nosedive going down. We need people like Brajakes to contribute in mentoring the next generation of sports journalists, especially in this country. Our football level has gone down, so has our reporting of the game. So with people like Brajakes, we can do better and do greater. So to Brajakes, we wish you great life, great health, and great wealth. May the Lord preserve you and make sure that you give us everything that's in accordance to your talents and your gifts. You've done it for 30 years. You can still do it again. So we look forward to those books that you're going to write. Hosea Rampekwa. Thank you.
Hosea, thank you so much. Mam Felicia, thank you so much. Thank you, Liam. Thank you, Brakeke. Thank you, everybody that's really come through. Matselane, I will unfairly give you a minute to respond to all that you've heard.
Yeah. I don't know where to start, Rob. I think I was very blessed when I started in the industry. I got to the Star and there were just mentors and mentors. There was a guy called Michael Shafto, very old man who'd been a sports editor, and he took me under his wing. I had a lot of people guide me in different ways. I worked with Billy Cooper, with the late Phil Nyamani, Thomas Kwenaite, and they all took me like their little brother. Sbusiso Mselegu, the late Sbusiso Mselegu at the Sowetan, called me his son. Bramish Mishak Mutloung, the late Mishak Mutloung, liked me. He called me Zain. It's a nickname that I loved, Zain Musa, when I was growing up, and I used to call myself Zain, and he found out. And those were people who, welcomed me into the industry and took me in like a little brother. And David Legg, the greatest mentor I've ever had. That man would send me to England to learn. I used to go to England every year, spend time with Lucas and your Sean Bartlett's, working with Oliver Holt of the Times then. And that's how I grew. David Legg would give me newspapers from England to read every day without fail. And that's how I grew.
Can I make the most unpopular thing right now, Matselane?
Yeah.
Is asked that we pick up our conversation with David Legg, somebody whose work I am extremely familiar and a big fan of and grew up reading.
Yeah.
That we pick it up on that because there's so many aspects and facets to your journey. This thing called time is against us.
Yeah,
and I want to celebrate this 30 years properly. We will let all our shareholders of the show know when part 2 will be, but there has to be. I'm looking at voice notes that I cannot play because of time.
Sure.
I'm looking at so many tributes that have just come in that I cannot get to because of time, and calls that are coming through because of time.
Sure.
And I do not want to not allow people to celebrate you because you deserve it, Matselane.
Yeah.
But I want to thank you firstly for allowing us to do this.
Yeah,
and I am sure the next time we step forward, we'll take it to another level. And I want to talk about the hobbies, the discipline, the runner that is in you, doing comrades, running 2 oceans. My goodness, what a man! Before I get fired, guys, thank you. We're out of time. Matselane Mamabolo, thank you so much indeed for granting us this opportunity. Have a super weekend, Baba.
Thanks, Rob. Sure.
All right, to catch you again, guys, on Monday, Marawa Sports Worldwide. Wow. What can I say? Proudly brought to you by Hollywood Bets.
The thrill, the drama, the action.
Let the game begin.
Marawa Sports Worldwide on 947, Vuma FM and Rise FM. Powered by Hollywood Bets. #MSW. Live